AKS Desktop is nearly identical to open source Headlamp. The first thing that you'll notice that's different is the Azure account tab in the left navigation. Click it and then click the Sign in with Azure button. Once you're connected, you can add a cluster. If you need to add more clusters later, you can always click on the Home tab and add from there. I don't have any clusters added yet, so let's click the Add from Azure Subscription button. Select your subscription, and AKS Desktop will discover the clusters that you have access to based on Azure RBAC permissions. Select a cluster and that's it. The cluster is now registered with AKS Desktop. Click on the cluster to open it, and much of what you see here is familiar Headlamp functionality. But I want to highlight projects. A project gives you an application-focused view of Kubernetes resources grouped by a namespace. AKS Desktop also has integrations with AKS managed namespaces, so that a platform team can set this all up for a developer and hand it off to the team, and it would automatically show up in this projects list. Once the managed namespace is available as a project, click into it and you can deploy your application. And AKS Desktop supports two deployment options, a container image or Kubernetes YAML manifest. For this demo, I'll choose a container image. The guided form asks for the application name, the container image, number of replicas, and networking details such as the container port. This is a Next.js application, so I'll set the container port to 3000 and enable public access. It also includes health checks, resource settings, along with environment variables, HPA, and workload identity, which we'll come back to later. Finally, common best practices for security and resiliency. I'll just keep the defaults and continue. At the end of it all, the AKS Desktop will generate the Kubernetes manifest for you. And if you're familiar with Kubernetes manifests, you'll start to recognize several best practices, including pod affinity rules, topology spread constraints, health probes, resource requests and limits, and baseline security settings. Click deploy, and AKS applies the manifest to the cluster. After deployment, the resources tab shows us the Kubernetes objects that were created for the application. I'll click workloads, then deployment to view the app. Scroll down a bit to see its status, and we can see the pod is running. The map provides a nice visual view of Kubernetes resources and how they relate to one another. I'll select the service and copy its external IP address, and let's switch over to the browser to test. We'll just paste in the IP address and add port 3000 to the end of it, and nice, the website is up and running. Let's test the AI Travel Assistant button. Just say hello, and as expected, the AI integration hasn't been configured yet, so it doesn't work. So that completes day one, registering the cluster, deploying application into projects with AKS Desktop. Now let's take a look at day two operations. I'll start with scaling. The application currently runs a single replica. I can easily increase that to 3. Next, I want to observe the application. So on the metrics tab, I can see that AKS Desktop provides CPU, memory, network metrics for the workload. And we all know metrics don't always tell the full story. So we can always open the logs tab to stream the container logs in real time. The info tab brings together project or namespace configuration, such as network policies and resource quotas. And the access tab allows you to view Azure role-based access control assignments when the project is linked to an Azure managed namespace. But let's go ahead and edit the deployment to refine our app config and add the AI integration. First thing I'll update is the service port. The application was exposed on port 3000. I'll change that to map to a standard HTTP port. And the edit workflow allows me to review the health checks and resource limits. Those are good, so I'm just gonna leave them as is. Next, I'll add the environment variables to the application so that we have everything that we need to connect to Azure OpenAI. And note, these are configuration values, not credentials. Now, I previously statically scaled the application to 3 replicas. We can actually enable HPA or the Horizontal Pod Autoscaler to dynamically scale the app based on demand. I'll set it to 3 minimum and 6 maximum replicas based on CPU utilization. And for Azure OpenAI authentication, I'll enable Microsoft Entra workload identity. Just toggle this on, select my existing managed identity, which already has a federated identity credential configured, and we'll just continue with the remaining defaults. Before deploying, let's review the updated YAML manifest, and we can see that AKS Desktop added a Kubernetes service account with the required workload identity annotation, and farther down, you can see that the pod template includes the required labels to use workload identity and references to the service account name. And together, these settings allow workload identity to work, and your application can authenticate to the OpenAI instance, all without storing passwords or secrets. I'll verify the environment variables, then review the scaling settings, and then click deploy to redeploy the application to the cluster. Then we'll check in the live logs and make sure that the updated application restarted successfully. Then we'll go return to the website, remove port 3000 from the URL, refresh, site is up, that's great. Now let's try the chat interface again. Say hello one more time. It's thinking, it's always a good sign when it's thinking. And there we go. The application is now working on the correct port with dynamic scaling rules and integrated with Azure OpenAI, all authenticated with workload identity. So that was a quick tour of AKS Desktop to show you day 1 and day 2 capabilities. Give it a try. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Peace.